Hello, everyone. This is Narendra Kumar from HeartbeatsZ Academy, and today we have uh, Megan Loeffen, who finished her master's in nutrition and health from the world famous Wageningen University in Netherlands. And I must say as well, this is one of the top universities for nutrition and agricultural sciences program as well. She has grown up in the farm in south of Netherlands, so she is very much used to the natural food practices and definitely an expert as well. Her hobbies include sports, being creative, and being in the kitchen. And I must vouch for that as well. Her culinary skills are awesome. And she looks forward to make a career in the field of nutrition, health, and society. So, no more time wastage from my side. I'm going to hand over to Megan um, to share her expertise on today's topic, which is the nutrition for body and soul during COVID-19. Over to Megan.
So then I will go over to prevention, and this is everything to do with nutrition and the immune system. Afterwards, I will talk about nutrition during treatment of COVID-19, and then we will have a short discussion. Some introduction. I think everybody knows these days worldwide that COVID-19 is a problem, a really life-threatening problem, as we've all heard the numbers. Vaccines, however, can take years to create, especially with a virus like COVID-19 which rapidly mutates. And additionally, vaccines provide varying levels of protection, which I've read different papers, and they've shown only an efficacy of 19 to 54% of the vaccine to seasonal influenza. So this is very low. I think it's very low. As a result, the virus still causes 500,000 deaths annually worldwide. So even though vaccines exist, we still have a lot of deaths worldwide every year. So I don't think a vaccine is the solution to COVID-19, and therefore prevention strategies are needed. And does that happen to be related to nutrition and lifestyle factors?
Right.
I think these are the answers and solutions to health problems like COVID-19. And obviously, as a nutritionist, I would agree that nutrition and lifestyle factors are indeed the solutions. So I think the connection between nutrition, lifestyle, and the coronavirus is most likely the immune system. I think the immune system can decrease the impact of the virus if properly fueled, like with good nutritious foods. So I will now go over to the immune system. I think this is necessary to know a bit about the immune system, so you can visualize why it's important and how nutrition will prevent COVID-19 symptoms via the immune system, via a good, proper immune system. I think it's important to know that the immune system consists of two different parts. You can see that on the left side. We have the innate immune system, and on the right side we have the adaptive immune system. So the innate immune system is quick, as you can see. It takes up to 12 hours, but it's always the same after repeated exposure. So it's rapid, and it will immediately repair damage of a microbe like a virus. And the adaptive immune system is initially slow. However, it matures, and this means that repeated exposure leads to a faster response over time. Therefore, the system keeps memory of earlier exposures. And this is also the way a vaccine works. and protects us against a virus. So a vaccine is either a dead or a weak microbe, and it's injected, and then your whole immune system gets active, and the adaptive immune system makes sure that it will keep a memory cell. So when you get exposed for a second time, this memory cell, it differentiates very fast, and then you don't even really get sick because your immune system is that fast. So the adaptive system operates right after the innate immune system, and it includes T and B lymphocytes. So on the lower part of the adaptive immune system, you see the T lymphocytes, and the T lymphocytes can activate other cells, mostly of the innate immune system, but also of the adaptive immune system. But it can also kill virus-infected or tumor cells themselves by releasing cytotoxic proteins. And the B lymphocytes are on the upper right part, and they produce antibodies after recognition of an antigen of a certain microbe, like a virus, like a COVID-19 virus cell, for example. Yeah, so I tried to keep this a bit short. I know this is tough information. I think it's tough information.
Well,
but
this is good. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, so then everybody knows a bit about the immune system. Absolutely. And how nutrition can impact this and can help you make these memory cells faster and get a faster response, and get this memory cells so we have the so we have a good immune system to fight this. So now we'll go over to the first slide of prevention by nutrition, of course. So this next slide is about prevention of COVID-19 symptoms and hospitalization for COVID-19, so we can hopefully prevent this. Obviously, I will focus on nutrition as this is my specialty, but lifestyle factors are always included and should be thought about when changing your life, or it's always connected. So proper nutrition is of course important for your immune system and provides a faster and better recovery from COVID-19 symptoms. When I talk about good nutrition today, I mainly refer to fibers, vitamins, and minerals, because these the micronutrients I'm going to talk about provide antioxidants and help in better T cell production, which is part of the immune system I just talked about, the T lymphocytes. And the micronutrients I will discuss in the next slides, they have synergistic roles, and that means they collaborate in their function, so they work together. So it's important to keep all these micronutrients at a good, proper level. I will now discuss 13 micronutrients, only short, don't worry, and the role of omega-3 fatty acids in the immune response and their role in acute respiratory tract infections. And deficiency of these micronutrients can reduce the resistance to infections, so they can reduce the function of the immune system. So in the first slide, you see all the vitamins that are really involved in the immune system, and if you have a deficiency, they can really reduce the functioning of the immune system. So vitamin A has proven to reduce the risk of mortality and reduce the risk of incidence of pneumonia. Really difficult words. And then, vitamin B6. Sorry. It maintains a normal blood homocysteine level. This is important for a lot of functionings in your body, but I won't go into this for homocysteine for now, not for today. folate and vitamin B12. Folate's also known as vitamin B11, but folate is most common actually. But they work together. They work together in red blood cell formation, nerve system functioning, and DNA synthesis. But also again to maintain homocysteine levels. And of course, for today, for the immune system, it's also an immunomodulator for cellular immunity. So that's mostly for T cell development again. And then vitamin C and vitamin D, they're most well studied. I think a lot of people have heard about it. Take vitamin C, it's good for your immune system. It definitely is. I have to say that. I saw one really good study in which they provided 200 milligrams per day of vitamin C to protect against infections, and then they mainly protect against severe respiratory infections such as pneumonia and also the common cold. But also, I think COVID-19 then. And this is done by supporting the epithelial barrier function and growth of the epithelial cells. And it also reduces disease severity and risk of death in elderly. So I think vitamin C has proven to be very important in infections, definitely. For vitamin D, it works in the way that many immune cells have vitamin D receptors, and if vitamin connects or links to these receptors, it affects their function of the immune cells. It, for example, increases the killing capacity of the innate immune cells, and it supports antigen presentation. So antibodies can easily recognize the antigens, so the virus actually. And in one study, they provided 50 micrograms of vitamin D to the participants to regulate production of antimicrobial proteins. And it has proven to kill pathogens and therefore reduce acute respiratory tract infections. Vitamin E I will go into later, but here I have the recommended daily nutrient intakes for you. I thought it was really important to put it into my slides. So everybody knows what is normal, and I think everybody, if you want to know, you can always search for the amount of micronutrients in a certain type of food products. But I will go into that later. I will first go over to the minerals. So I talked about vitamins, now the minerals and omega-3 fatty acids. I will keep this short, but I think zinc is important to tell you about that. It reduces diarrheal and respiratory morbidity. There are also a lot of good studies about this, so I really wanted to share with you this information. And I also want to say something about selenium and vitamin E, because I think this is also very important, maybe one of the most important parts of my presentation. Mm-hmm. So vitamin E and selenium work together. They are both antioxidants, and when deficient, when these micronutrients are deficient, the virus causes more virulence and mutates faster. And especially with a rapidly mutator like COVID-19, this is of importance because this means more pathogenic strains of the COVID-19 virus occur, which make it even more difficult to develop a vaccine. So first, keep this level up, selenium and vitamin E. It's very important. Otherwise, I think the scientists don't even have a chance to get a vaccine with a high efficacy at all. Then over to omega-3 fatty acids. And this is of importance to resolve inflammation. You don't want to get into a chronic inflammation state. Your immune system will get weaker and weaker. You want to get rid of the immune cells at some point, because otherwise they keep damaging your own cells, your cell walls, for example. Omega-3 fatty acids are involved in the mechanism of negative feedback and support the healing of your tissue, and is also including the respiratory tract tissue, which you want to keep healthy, of course, if COVID-19 is on the way. So here again, the recommended nutrient intakes. I won't explain them all, but I want to show you this so everybody who's watching can always look it up in these tables. I took this from the Nordic Nutrition Recommendations in 2012. I think these are really updated. And I also read the whole paper, so I know what they did to get to these recommendations. Yeah, I want to tell you that it's really important to keep these micronutrient levels really at this stage, because even small micronutrient deficiencies can cause tremendous damage to your immune system, and which I told you they work synergistically. So you have to keep all the micronutrients up. Yeah, otherwise it's of great danger, I think, if you might get an infection. Nevertheless, common micronutrients deficiencies exist. I know for Europe that that people from Europe are especially deficient in vitamin D, vitamin E, folate, and selenium, and omega-3 fatty acid intake. So yeah, I told you about these micronutrients, and they are really of importance, so try to keep them up. You don't want to get below the daily requirement level. Yeah, I think it's personally, but I recommend to always choose for whole foods and not supplements. I really want to exaggerate this point, that too many supplements are harmful for your body. Even vitamin C, which is water, it's water soluble, so you can just pee it out of your body. However, it doesn't always work like that. It can damage your intestines and your kidneys, because they have to get rid of the overamount of vitamin C. So don't just take supplements of vitamin C. You have to be really well informed, but try to just take whole foods, if you ask me. Yeah, and I just recommend to follow the recommendations of the Nordic Council of Ministers with regard to micronutrient intake and supplementation. Because, for example, sometimes they recommend daily supplementation, for example, for vitamin D, for women over 50 and men over 70 years of age. They recommend daily supplementation of vitamin D. And furthermore, nobody should ever exceed the upper limits for these micronutrients. This is really dangerous and toxic for your body. And obviously you don't want this. For vitamin C, it's the upper level is 2 grams a day for adults. So this is important to know. And for other micronutrients, it's also in my in the literature I used. You can look it up, the upper limits, if you're interested in this. Then for the next prevention slide, I will go into obesity. So it is also connected to lifestyle factors, obviously. I found 2 really great studies already with obesity and COVID-19. In one study, they found an association between a BMI above 30 and a 2 times higher risk to get COVID-19. And this is done in more than 3,500 patients underneath 60 years. So it's not an elderly, it's for everybody actually. When you have a BMI above 30, you have a 2 times higher chance to get COVID-19 and to get hospitalized. And another study with over 4,000 patients, it showed a 3.6 times higher chance for patients with a BMI above 35. So this is really morbid obesity. Higher chance to get on the intensive care department of the hospital compared to patients with a BMI between 18 and 30. And the study even showed a 6 times higher chance to get in the hospital when the BMI is higher than 40 compared to a BMI. But I hope nobody ever has a BMI over 40. You really should prevent that, because it's harder to, if you already have a BMI over 40, it's harder to get back below. I think again the connection between obesity and corona is probably related to the immune system. Again, the immune system. For example, chronic low-grade inflammation in the intestines is caused by fat tissue, and that's this will weaken your immune system response, and it will slow it down too, because it's already working so hard. And there's also a link between a reduced production of the hormone leptin. This is also produced by your fat tissue, but if you have more fat tissue, it produces less of this hormone. And if you have less of leptin, also the T cell metabolism is affected. And you also don't want this. You want the T lymphocytes up when you are infected. To reduce weight, I would recommend to go to a good dietitian. I know this is hard for some people, therefore I am always willing to answer specific questions, even though I do not always know the answer. But you can ask me questions. I would say check my website. It's veganbymegan.com. And I also have a question part. In Dutch, it's called Vragen, but I'm working on it to get it to an English website too. But you can always ask me questions in English too, and I'll try to answer them as good as I can. However, I do not always know the answer, and this is because a diet is linked to a person, and it should be matched to that person's dietary pattern, their eating habits, and their day-to-day life. Furthermore, what I think is important about dieting, never go for crash diets, never do that, and always change your dietary pattern step by step. One small adjustment every week is easier to stick to for the rest of your life. And it's important to stick to a diet, obviously, because otherwise you get the yo-yo effect, that you go up and down with your weight, obviously. For example, I think maybe this is the first step for people that want to change their diet. Changing 1 soda a day to a cup of water with mint leaves in it, if you want to get some taste into the water, if you want to have a fresh taste, and then you can add some mint leaves. But it's easier to stick to than eliminating all carbs from your diet from one day to another. Some people are so drastic with this, and obviously it's hard to stick to this diet if you remove all your carbs. That's hard if you want to do that from one day to another. I think everybody should try to find a dietary pattern that can last for the rest of your life. Search for healthy recipes you think are tasty and you think you can make more often. And never forget to keep your diet diverse with whole wheat products, fruit and vegetables, legumes, nuts and seeds, olive oil, fish, dairy products or eggs if possible, of course, not if you're vegan. And enough water is important also for your immune system. So my next slide is about nutrition during the treatment of COVID-19. Yeah, and obviously I'll first connect to my previous slides, which were about micronutrients. I want to tell you that micronutrient requirements are elevated during a COVID-19 infection and during stress periods, which is linked to COVID-19 hospitalization. Actually, all micronutrients requirements are elevated, but again, most well studied is vitamin C, and I have I've stated the requirement for patients who are hospitalized, and it's 1 to 2 grams a day vitamin C for every patient, and this is compared to 75 micrograms per day in healthy adults. So this is really a big change. So it's hard to keep it up. And these patients, they have to take supplements because otherwise they can't ingest so many fruits and vegetables, of course. And this is especially of importance in these patients because it's harder to swallow foods, and therefore tube feeding is often recommended, which you also see on the image. And another aspect of nutrition that is specifically studied in a relationship between COVID-19 and nutrition is protein requirements. So now I will go into the protein requirements for some different stages of the COVID-19 process. So the first stage is the acute phase. On the IC, it's mostly from day 1 to 4. Well, tube feeding is recommended, as I just told you. And this tube feeding should include around 1.3 grams of proteins per kilogram body weight per day. And to, again, compare this to a normal level, healthy adults should consume 0.8 grams of proteins per kilogram body weight per day normally. So this is 1.5 grams of proteins per kilogram body weight more. That's quite a lot. For the next stage, during the post-acute phase on the IC, this is it's on average from day 5 to 10, but it can be much longer for COVID-19 patients, unfortunately. And during this stage, muscle loss can be up to 1 kilograms per day. So that's a lot. If you count the days, it's like in between 5 to up to 15 days. If you lose 1 kilogram of muscle tissue per day, that can be a lot. So therefore, protein requirements are even upscaled because you want to obviously again produce more more muscle tissue. So I recommend to get 1.5 grams of proteins per kilogram body weight per day into your body. However, this is really a lot, so sometimes a 24-hour kidney dialysis might be necessary because your kidneys have to get rid of the extra proteins. Proteins, amino acids, these are the building blocks of proteins. So you don't need everything because your body also produces some amino acids themselves. during the recovery phase on the nursery department of the hospital, protein requirement is still high, especially when the patient involves in walking and exercise practices again, because obviously you need muscle tissue then to exercise again, to walk again. I think it's important if you can try and walk again, because you want to take up your normal life as soon as possible. And therefore 1.5 to 2.0 grams of proteins per kilogram body weight per day is recommended. And sometimes protein-rich shakes are recommended if the patient is still not able to swallow well, because these are really high in proteins and it's fluid, of course. And then during the last stage, this is during the recovery phase after discharge from the hospital, and this can be like 1 year or even more. It's important to keep your nutrition optimized, and specialists are now developing a program for the best nutrition to recover fully from COVID-19 hospitalization, to get your micronutrient levels up again, and to have to build up more muscle tissue again, to get to your old level, and to be able to take up your normal life again. One particular item to focus on is the loss of smell and ability to taste properly. As a result, patients are inclined to eat less because of the loss of these abilities. I think this is obvious if I think about myself when I have a cold and if I can't smell properly, then I'm also willing to refuse my foods if it's not tasty at all. And this is actually an effect of the virus to the central nervous system, that you can't smell properly again. So you really have to focus on that, how we can make the food tasty again for these patients, or after being a patient. Then I will go to the end. I will make a short conclusion for you. Thank you for listening, of course, but I still recommend to follow the recommended nutrient intakes I presented in my slides. Nobody should ever exceed the upper limits for micronutrients stated in the guidelines, so you can also look them up in my references. Don't forget, if you have questions or searching for some specific information or healthy and tasty recipes, go to my website, veganbymegan.com. I recommend to always choose for small steps and whole foods. I also recommend this on my website. Keep your diet diverse with whole wheat products, fruit and vegetables, legumes, nuts and seeds, olive oil, fish. I don't often use dairy products, but you can also find replacements, of course. And enough water is important. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Megan. I must appreciate the talk, the quality of what you introduced us, especially during this COVID times, because the nutrition is very important. We all will agree. We are what we eat. And you again showed the role of the good nutrition, not just for the immunity. For example, how the immunity depends upon the good nutrition as well. And later on, you also showed us about the different vitamins, for example, like the vitamin A, B6, B10, B12, C, D, E as well, that they are so much important for the immunity as well, and to have give us a good defense mechanism to protect us from any kind of diseases. And you further shared about the different minerals as well, like the zinc, iron, copper, selenium, magnesium, the omega-3 fatty acids as well, frankly, and also the recommended dietary allowance as well for these different products. And one of the special things which I really appreciate is that you showed us that we should
focus more on the whole food rather than depending on those supplements. This is one of the big message, especially to a lot of our, I would say, younger friends and colleagues as well, that let's try to focus on the whole food. The supplements are never any, that's why they are called as supplements, I would say. So those supplements, those pills are not the main food, okay? They are just supposed to be supplements. And another thing which Megan already emphasized very well is about the hypervitaminosis. Because what we tend to keep on thinking about, like, okay, let's keep on popping up those pills and all, it will be something really good. And even in that, Megan really again explained it to us about the concept of the water-soluble vitamins, the fat-soluble vitamins. Yes, water-soluble vitamins, if we take it up, even if it is slightly in higher content and all, it may be flushed out, like the B complex or the vitamin C. However, the fat-soluble vitamins like the vitamin A, D, E, K, they will get stored, and we will have those hypervitaminosis symptoms as well. And the role of BMI and the COVID infection rate, I really believe in this concept as well. And you shared with us in very simple language and very easy to understand concept as well, that yes, if someone is having a higher body mass index as well, it is they are predisposed for the COVID infection as well, at a much higher percentage rate as well. In fact, in the next slide as well, when you shared about the dieting pattern as well to follow step by step. So a lot of people, yes, due to the friend pressure, the peer pressure as well, okay, they would like to lose the weight, they would like to do the diet, but like a crash dieting and all. So that's not the good thing. So that is one of the other thing as well. We should always try to seek for expert opinion as well. So we are lucky, as I said it, Megan is there with us. Megan has a site as well, veganbymegan.com. So we can always go to her. And she has promised me that she's also going to make it friendly for the other languages as well. Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
Oh, no problem, no problem. So we can always go to that. And one of the other important things, especially for the clinicians, I love the fact, the way in which she was able to share with us about the different phases of recovery. For example, like the acute phase, the post-acute phase, and the recovery phases as well. And what kind of nutrition is key for a better and a quicker and also a more efficient recovery as well. So after going through all this wonderful things and all to know, there were some questions in my mind as well. Megan, I must say, veganism is becoming more and more popular as well. I'm aware a lot of even sports personnel, famous sports person, and some of the actors and actresses as well are endorsing it very well, and they all are really telling it wonderful things. I would like to have your expert opinion. What do you think are the health benefits of veganism?
Yeah, I have, of course, dove into this literature too, for my website, of course, but also for my personal life. Yeah, at during my master's, what was really coming up again and again was that red meat was associated with cancer, with bowel cancer, and yeah, even other types of cancer. So that was, I think, the main message I took from my master program, that we really should avoid red meat. And red meat is actually everything without, except for poultry and fish. So it's sheep, cow, pig, etc. I think these are the most common eaten. And I think everybody, or a lot of people in the westernized world, they really like this meat.
Yeah.
But it's actually no good for you. It's mostly linked to cancer, and it doesn't really provide extra nutrients or something, because you can always yeah, you can always get an amount of protein from other sources, especially if you combine it well. If you combine it well with micronutrients, for example, again. I can never really explain in words how important the micronutrients are.
Absolutely.
Yeah, furthermore, obviously, vegetables and fruits, they provide a really big amount of fibers, and fibers are connected to a healthy gut system, and also a healthy I couldn't think about the word microbiota, and the microbiota is also important for the immune system. So again, this is also a link between veganism and the immune system. And when you eat a lot of fibers, it will keep your gut bacteria healthy.
Wonderful.
I think I can talk about a lot of associations, but these are, for me, the most important and well-studied associations.
Wonderful. In the future, anyways, if we want to get updated, we can always keep on logging to your website as well and keep referring over there.
Yes, I try to keep all the information in that, which I look up and which I hear read. So I try to put all the information in there. I think there's more information on there than I just talked about. So if you want to know more, yeah.
We know that you are expert on this field, so I'm sure you can keep on talking for much longer time as well. And we did have a restriction of the time as well, so I can appreciate that. And one more question about that. If someone is following strict veganism as well for a longer time, so what do you think, like, what are the nutritional deficiencies one may be getting exposed to if one is following veganism for a long time?
I would never ever recommend to be a vegetarian even, or comply to the vegan diet if you are below 18. I would never do that, because you're growing and you really need this. You need a lot of nutrients, and for example, for adolescent women, they need a lot of iron, and iron availability is much higher. The bioavailability is much higher in meat. I, however, can recommend to try to stick to poultry and fish, because this is obviously less harmful for your body for association with cancer. Mm-hmm. So, but I would never recommend to be a vegetarian, because you need the proteins, the iron, and also B vitamins. You need this if you're growing so fast, and if you are adolescent, but also during childhood. So that's that. I really wanted to say that. And for the rest, for adults, I think vitamin B12 is of a special importance, because vitamin B12 can only be found in animal products. We are smart these days. We have a lot of good researchers and development people at a lot of dairy companies that they are also producing plant-based milk, plant-based dairy products. I think everybody knows about it. Soy milk, almond, oat milk, and I think this is a good replacement. It also has a lot of proteins, but what is really nice about it, that a lot of companies are also supplementing the plant-based dairy products with vitamin B12. So this is an option to also ingest vitamin B12, and then you don't even have to take supplements again. Then you can just take it by replacing normal animal milk, cow milk, with plant-based milk. yeah, so like the soy milk, a lot of producers put in vitamin B12 in there, and then you can also get to the recommended nutrient intake of vitamin B12. Yeah, I think that is the best option to get to vitamin B12 if you're vegan.
Great. That's indeed, again, a very valid point which you shared. And thank you so much for clarifying our doubts and sharing all these insights. And they all have been really, really helpful. And I feel now we are much better confident of treating our patients as well, because it's easy for us to go see our patients, write the medications, and we are gone. But we keep on forgetting about the one of the other important thing about nutrition, which has a very, very important and very vital role for the treatment and better and quicker recovery for those patients as well. Thank you again, Megan, for sharing your insights, and we will keep referring to your website for the future updates as well.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me and having me here. It was a pleasure.
My pleasure. Thank you.